Life is tough, or it will get tough. And the question is not how to make the life easier, but how to get the most out of life's challenges. This is the third episode of book series. If you don't know what book series is, it's basically a series where I go through all of the books that I've read or I read currently. And today for the third episode, I have the book The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. The ancient art of turning adversity to advantage. So let's go briefly through this, the kind of like the basics of this book, and then we'll dive deep into it. So, what is this book about? First of all, the title says it all. The obstacle is the way. So in your life, you'll have some sort of challenges. You'll have obstacles. You'll have adversities, and in order to overcome them, you need it's some sort of strategy, not the like this firm like 100% exact strategy to follow everything. You need to be, of course, sometimes mobile, sometimes you need to have this a little bit of flexibility, but the main thing is you need to have some sort of like a plan of not a plan of action, but the plan of how you're actually going to what is your relationship with that obstacle is going to be? What is your relationship with this adversity of life is going to be? This is the question. And so with that, let's go straight into the book. So this book is divided into three sort of parts. The first one is perception, the second one is action, and the third one is will. So let's start with perception. Ryan Holiday writes his books in a very sort of unusual way for at least for me and like to compare to the books which I read normally. He usually just kind of like rapid fires all of the ideas for like and for one I wouldn't say a chapter, but for one sort of rule from a part of the book, he just takes like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 pages. It's something very unusual, especially considering like his mentor Robert Greene, whose books are structured in a very different way. At least his sort of newer books, 48 Laws of Power, is structured in the exact same way. But for example, the Laws of Human Nature, which I've read, it is a completely different sort of type of book in which he just like takes a certain law of human nature and he just covers it for like I don't know 40 pages. So at least for me, the way Ryan just write his books is a little bit unusual, although of course they're good. I very much like them. I have read a couple of books of his, not considering the obstacles the way. But okay, so let's start. We'll skip a couple of chapters that I didn't really sort of like or needed, and we'll start straight with perception and, more importantly, steady your nerves and control your emotions on the pages 24 and 27. So let me just take something to kind of pin the book. So control your emotions and steady your nerves. This is not a this. Those are the two separate chapters, but they're kind of from the same bay. What does it mean to control your emotions and to steady your nerves? Here's the thing. A lot of times when we face challenges and obstacles and adversities in our lives, we just simply trade off our sanity for a freak out. And this literally is like a quote from this book. We usually go our go about our days just thinking that everything will go by our plan, by the way we have planned it. But we don't consider the fact that life has its own plans. Life is going to get tough. Life is going to throw obstacles at you which you have not expected. And at that moment, when we face something difficult, when we face something unexpected, we just trade off our ability to stay sane, which is which is an unbelievable capacity of a human being, the ability to like literally control your primal emotions. This is some unbelievable shit, and we trade it off for a freak out, for like a good scream or yell, or whether we take something and throw it. It's just we trade off our just as I said, unbelievable capacity to stay sane under pressure for like a good freak out. And then we're faced with this guilt, and with guilt we're faced for one more freak out, and this just goes into this negative feedback loop in which the only solution to it would have been to stay sane. So controlling your emotions, it is hard, because there are some emotions, like the most primal monkey brain ones, which are just hard to control. They're just bloody, like you need to practice it, and you need to put some hours into actually having the ability to recognize them and to use them with some sort of a benevolent purpose. Let's phrase it like that. But so emotions like anger, sadness, or happiness. This also one. If you're just too bloody excited for something, you're also going to make some like some just foolish stuff. But with that being said, control your emotions. You need to be able to control your emotions under pressure, to actually see, okay, this is what's happened, and how I'm going to actually, and then the question, of course, it begs the question, how am I going to actually go with that? Because if you are able to control your emotions, and if you are able to control your nerves, and this is a very powerful thing. It's like we as humans have this just amazing capacity to do so. I cannot stop repeating that, because this is just unthinkable. No other creature on this planet has this ability to control its primal emotions of anger, sadness, guilt, I don't know, excitement, anxiety, etc., etc. It's like no other creature on this planet has this capacity. We as humans have. And of course, to some degree, we are primal. To some degree, we are still in this like monkey brain age. But we can steady it. We can steady it. And with our conscious mind, with our developed mind, we can stay sane under pressure. And trading it off, trading this ability to stay sane for a freak out, for like a good yell, is so foolish and stupid. And I'm no messiah right here. I sometimes do that myself. I don't think that I'm like I'm a total stoic, of course. No. I'm sometimes I sometimes rage and scream and yell, and of course I do those things sometimes. And although the situation has got better by since I got onto the Stoic philosophy, the situation has got much better. I'm no holy saint guy right here to tell you how to like actually control your emotions. Just you need to put practice into it. You need to catch yourself every single time that you'll be in this like just you'll be flooded with rage and anger and like maybe our emotions, and you just need to catch yourself with your conscious brain, and then stop, and then you need to stop. Then you need to take a deep breath and actually understand, okay, this is what's happened. And from this begs the question, of course, like what has happened. And we go into the next kind of part of the chapter of this book: practice objectivity and alter your perspective. Again, two separate chapters, but I just want to take them together. So let's talk about the first one: practice objectivity. there I want to open this kind of chapter, so for the page 42, because there's an amazing sort of, oh yeah. So at the start of the chapter, Ryan has this, I wouldn't say quote, but he writes right here that the phrase "this happened and it is bad" is actually two impressions. The first, "this happened," is objective. The second, "this is bad," is subjective. Is a good one. This has happened and this is bad. This kind of sentence has two parts of it. This happened is of course an objective thing, like something has happened, and this is bad. It is only our emotions. It is only our brain that makes it so. There's a quote from William Shakespeare that says, "There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." And this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. Thinking, our ability to put perceptions and opinions and our own personal view on something, it's sometimes it plays a good role, of course, but sometimes we need to abandon this ability of ours, and we just need to see things as they are, as they have happened. Because this is the thing. In every obstacle in life, in every challenge that life throws at you, you have an opportunity to learn. And this sounds kind of like wishy-washy, that if you have failed you can learn, like it sounds very airy, but really see your life as an opportunity to learn. I have faced, throughout being on self-improvement, I don't know, like maybe thousands of challenges. I have, like, doing, you don't even know how much, like, challenges and obstacles and those kind of things life has thrown at me. Like, I literally, sometimes I sometimes it gets, I wouldn't say it gets bad, but it's just sometimes I have friendships that fail. Sometimes I want to get a girl that, but I don't have enough, like, confidence to come up to her. Sometimes something more bad happens. Like, life will throw obstacles at you every single bloody day, and you better, like, have a good perspective on this. You better have some, like, good understanding of, okay, this is what I'll do in this moment. I'm going to try to learn as lot of things as possible from this seemingly dreadful situation. Because sometimes it gets really dreadful, sometimes it gets really just atrocious. Sometimes your family member dies. Sometimes, I don't know, you'll get injured. Sometimes you'll get bankrupt. I'm not saying that you'll get bankrupt like every single year or so, but with the first example, with a family member, you need to prepare for it. You need to actually have a somewhat of an adequate perspective on death itself. Because of course I'm not saying that you will be able to control your emotions when your family members dies. Like, I haven't experienced death in my family for a long time, and, like, good soul, it's like better to be that way. But I'm kind of like, I'm preparing for something of that sort to happen, that somebody will die. And I'm not saying that in this moment you will be able to control your emotions and stay totally stoic and you will not cry or something like that. Of course, you need to fully understand um, the toughness of the situation when somebody will die. But the problem is that if we give up ourselves to this sentimental part of our brain, will lose our ability to do something more noble in this situation. And doing something more noble means to helping your our family members, for example, who will be absolutely dreaded by somebody's death in your family. So this is what I'm talking about. It's not in this specific case of somebody's death, and we'll talk about death a little bit later. When somebody dies, it's not a question of controlling your emotions, because sometimes you'll be, the situation gets so bad that you'll be not like, sometimes you just need to let it out, because I'm not expecting you nor me to control your emotions fully in the face of death itself, because this will be tragic. And so here the question of controlling your emotions goes away. Here is the question: can you withstand it? Can you be altruistic in the face of somebody's death? Can you help your family members? Can you do something which is good for them? Can you organize, like a family reunion to make all of your family feel a little bit better for the next 3 hours? Can you do that? No, you cannot. Can you just help one member of your family? Can you help your, I don't know, your grandmother or something like that? Can you just stay conscious under the face of death? This is a tough thing. This is a very tough thing to do, but this is something that you need to do. But going back to changing your perspective and being objective, one of the, if you would just take one sort of life lesson from those two chapters, it will be objective in any situation, and know that it is an opportunity to learn. It is an opportunity to discover yourself. It is an opportunity to learn something about yourself, and moreover, you can learn something about the world. And if you have that perspective, you'll be far better off than people who freak out at every situation that life throws at them. Because, as I said, this is something which is not trivial. Life will throw obstacles at you every single day, and so you better off have a good perspective on this. Because if you don't have a good perspective on something which happens every single day, or at least like a somewhat of an adequate perspective, man, good luck living a good life. Good luck. So let's go on to, oh, let me just open the chapters right here. Is it up to you? So the next thing we're going to talk about is the kind of the core idea of Stoicism itself. I don't really know the quote. I know it was said by Epictetus, but I'll just kind of get the meaning of this quote, not the quote itself, because I don't know it fully well. But in life, we need to divide things into sort of two parts, into two separate groups. The first one is something that is up to us, something that we can control, something that we can do about. The second one is the one that we cannot control. If the first one gets 100% of our attention and 100% of our action, the second one gets none. The second one gets absolutely none. Because if we cannot control something, why should we care about it? Why should we really care about it? And I know we will come back to this example a lot in this video, but in the face of somebody's death, of course, you cannot control death. You cannot like make somebody live immortally, live this immoral life, and it is much worse to live an immoral life than to live a moral life. But living, here's the thing. Sometimes you'll freak out and be sentimental about something that you cannot control. This is life. It will happen. But most of the time, you need to actually prepare yourself to be that guy who will not control about what has happened, because that what has happened is not up to him. You need to become that man. You need to become the person who is who only focuses on something that he can control. If there are quite a few things in our lives that we can control. We can control our looks, for example. We can control our health. Sometimes, of course, we'll but yeah, the general thing is we can control our emotions. We can control, like, sometimes we cannot even control our health or our looks or, like, I don't know, something else. But the things that we can control with 100% certainty are our thoughts, attitudes, and opinions. If you can control those three, you'll live a good life. There's an example in this book of some martial arts fighter that was imprisoned for, like, false accusation of murdering somebody, which of course he didn't. And the thing is, of course he was pissed. Of course he was pissed because he was sentenced for like a 20-year, like, sentence in prison or something like that. But this fire, he stayed stoic because he still can control his thoughts and his attitudes and his opinions and his emotions. He can't control that. He cannot control the court. He cannot control the sentence that he got. So why should he care? Why should he care? And this is of course an extreme example. But if you'll miss a bus on a way to commuting to your school or work, just think about something right here. You cannot control how, like, when did the bus driver and the bus itself, like, would arrive on the station. So why should you care about it? The only thing that you can do is to, like, look at the schedule and just plan to be there when the bus will come. But if the bus will suddenly come 2 minutes earlier, like, you cannot control that. And so freaking out in this moment is something absurd. It is something unnecessary, not even like unnecessary. This is something just foolish to do. It is stupid. It is just simply stupid because you cannot control when the bus will come. So why should you even care about, like, missing the bus? This is a more trivial example, but life goes like that. You have things that you can control. Focus on them. Give them your 100%. There are some things that you cannot control. Give none of attention to them. Give absolutely bloody no attention. Just abandon them. So let's move on to the second part of this book, and it is action. After we have altered our perspective on the obstacles which life throws at us, here's where we need to take action. Here's where we need to take some movement. We need to make a little bit of progress to actually making those obstacles, we need to destroy them or make them bearable. So with action, you need to practice persistence. So what is persistence? I think Epictetus has this quote where somebody asked him, like, if you would summarize the whole philosophy of life in, like, a couple of words, what would it be? Or not philosophy of life or stoicism, something like that. Somebody asked him something about, like, philosophy and stoicism, life, about something like that. And he told this phrase, which is bloody brilliant if you can understand it. And it is persist and resist. There are two things that you need to do in life: persist and resist. Resist the bad things. Resist the bad habits. Resist, like, scrolling on social media, playing video games, eating junk food, spending time with bad people, drinking alcohol, doing drugs, etc., etc. It's like, resist those things. Persist. Persist when just persist is being, like, disciplined. Be disciplined when you're going to the gym. Be disciplined when you wake up early in the morning. Be disciplined with all of the good habits, etc., etc. It's like the whole philosophy of life is just persisting something and resisting something. If you can manage to persist when you're taking action against some sort of an obstacle in your life, you'll it will make wonders for you, because one of the universal laws of the universe itself is something what's called the compound effect. So the compound effect basically means that if you do something for long enough, the results will grow bigger and bigger. If you will go to the gym for 3 months, the results wouldn't be like Olympia like. They wouldn't be just immaculate. But if you'll go to the gym for 25 years, let's just say, the results will be phenomenal. They'll be absolutely fantastic, because you have persisted, because you have been disciplined and going to the gym for 25 years. So life is going to reward you with a good physique, with good health, good with some self-respect, because you have managed to be disciplined for 25 years. And that is something which is not trivial. And like the gym example is a pretty bad one, because like I have like went to the gym for 1.5 years right now, and like the first 10 months were tough, and I have needed some discipline. Right now it's like it is 6 a.m. when I'm recording this, and I'll go to the gym at 9 a.m. and I cannot wait to go to the gym, because like it's fun. It is more fun than any video games, social media, junk food will ever give me. But to summarize this chapter, you need to persist. You need to be able to do something for long enough with that will, and you will achieve some results. So let's open the page 76. So here's the thing. I will read something out to you. It's okay to be discouraged. It's not okay to quit. To know you want to quit, sorry, to know you want to quit, but to plant your feet and keep inching closer until you take the impenetrable fortress you have decided to lay siege to in your own life. That's persistence. Edison once explained that in investing, the first step and into intuition and comes with a burst, then difficulties arise. What set Edison apart from our investors is tolerance for these difficulties and the steady dedication with which he applied himself towards solving them. In other words, it's supposed to be hard. Your first attempts aren't going to work. It's going to take a lot out of you. But energy is an asset we can always find more of. It's a renewable source. Stop looking for an epiphany. Start looking for weak points. Stop looking for angels and start looking for angles. Their options. Sell in for the long haul and then try each and every possibility, and you'll get there. When people ask where they are, what they're doing, how that situation is coming along, the answer should be clear. We're working on it. We're getting closer. When setbacks come, we respond by working twice as hard. This is the whole philosophy of persisting. So let's go back to action right here. And one of probably my most favorite part of this chapter, of this sort of part of the book, is a chapter which is called Follow the Process. The process itself is something, if you divide action and the plan of action into some sort of steps, you'll get the process. And if you follow that process single mindedly, if you follow that process with dedication and tolerance to temporary failure, let's just say. You'll get there. And let's just briefly go through our parts of this chapter, not through like the process chapter, but through action, because mostly it's understandable. It's like you just need to take action. For me, the persistence part of the book was single-handedly the most important one. If you will manage to alter your perspective, to just become curious of what those obstacles in life will give to you, you get so much knowledge you cannot even think and comprehend of. So one of the last things that we're going to talk about action is do your job and do it right. And what's right is what works. This is also a one of the core ideas of the Stoic philosophy, and it is that there are some things that you will need to do in life. There are responsibilities. There's your job that you'll need to do. There's like education, etc., etc. It's like you will have some responsibilities, and the most important thing to do is to do your job rightly. It is to do the job that you'll be proud of, but never put your satisfaction and happiness and fulfillment on the outcome of your job. So I'll explain that in with an example right here. So I record videos for those like self-improvement videos every single day. And when I record something, it's like either I'm going to be proud of the video which I made, either I have made like a positive contribution to the world, or I haven't, or I'm not proud of the video that I have made. And so the question here is, my satisfaction and fulfillment from work must come from the work that I have done, and from the question that have I done a good job today? Have I done something right? Have I made positive contribution to the world? Have I made the world a better place? This is the question that I need to ask myself. But usually we put our fulfillment from our work onto the outcome of it. So for me, it is the amount of views I'll get from my video. It is the amount of like positive comments that I'll get. But the problem is that I cannot control that. I cannot control the algorithm or some shit like that. I'm not going to even like try to try to do this, because like it is useless and like too bloody complicated. The only thing that I need to focus on is doing my job correctly and rightly. This is the only thing that I need to focus on. And for you, it is the same. If you are currently working in some kind of like a job, the only thing that you need to focus on is how do you do your job? Do you do it rightly? Have you done everything that you could? This is the question that you need to ask yourself every single day. And so with that, let's get to the final part of this book, and it is will. So what is will? Will is something, it is something between discipline and motivation. It is something between those two. Because here's the thing. When we face some unbelievably tough challenges in our lives, like the death of somebody, and I said earlier in the video that we're going to get back to death at the end of the video, and this is where we'll get to it. We face just tremendously tragic obstacles in our lives, and we will face them. If you are not currently in this phase of your life where you're going through one of those periods where you have experienced something tragic, you'll go through it. This is just how life works. But having some sort of, I wouldn't even say motivation, because motivation is just like, it's a wishy-washy word right here. But having some sort of hope and having some sort of discipline and persistence to take action even in the face of something so brutal that it seems like it's going to crush you. This is what's this is what you need. This is the will that you need to possess. So let's go through a couple of chapters. It is the smallest part of the book, and we'll go through a couple of chapters. So build your inner citadel. So what is the inner citadel? There are a couple of sort of concepts of and understandings of what the inner citadel is. But in this case, building an inner citadel means that you need to build some sort of like a foundation, some sort of like a safety, what do you even call it? A safety retreat, that when you face those atrocious obstacles in your life, you can always come back to your inner self and reflect on it. And building that inner citadel, you can only build it by just toughening it up. You can only build it by doing something hard, which is something also that you have done voluntarily. So going to the gym, doing those like heavy reps, like weightlifting, like doing some sort of like physical exercise that is hard. It is a and it is an amazing way to build this inner citadel. Doing something mentally hard. Also, this is a very good exercise to building this inner citadel. And one of the chapters in this part of the book is anticipation, thinking negatively. And this is an excellent way to actually strengthen your inner citadel. And it's that you need to think in a way that you are going to anticipate that something bad in your life will soon arise and appear and emerge. Because and this is not a case for pessimism. This is certainly not a case for pessimism. But sometimes do this. You need to do this exercise. You need to sometimes meditate on the malice that is going to happen in your life, on the the challenges that will probably arise in your life. And this is something that you need to do. I wouldn't even say daily, but if you can manage to meditate on the malice of life daily, you'll be far ahead when this malice will come in your life. The Stoics had a phrase in I don't even know in which language, it's either Greek or Latin. And to translate it, it was something like premeditated malice or something. Just basically some sort of like a synonym to the word malice, something bad. And this is exactly that you need to do. This is exactly what you need to do, is that you need to think in this way that something bad will soon happen. And you're not going to be a pessimist about that. You're not going to be a pessimist. You're going to welcome and tolerate life's difficulties with a sense of curiosity and with a sense of opportunity in them. This is what you need to do. So let's go through the two sort of like last chapters that I want to go through, and is that love everything that happens. Amor fati. So amor fati is a concept developed by the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, and it's basically let me read out the quote from Nietzsche, because it is written at the start of this chapter. So page 150. Yeah, right here. Love everything that happens. amorphity. My formula for greatness in a human being is amorphity. That one wants nothing to be different. Not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. So this was the quote from Friedrich Nietzsche. And basically what amorphity means is that, and I'm certainly not the one who is like perfect in this philosophy, because I'm no, like, sometimes something so bad happens that I cannot possibly like love it. But you just need to have this in mind that if something happens, it, to some degree, it should has happened. Maybe like that was somewhat planned by your fate. And so if you cannot control your uncontrollable the uncontrollable part of your fate, you might as well love it. You might as well tolerate it. You might as well not only find the opportunity to grow from it, but to actually love it. And so let's go through the last chapter in this book, and I'm going to like just open it right here. Um, just final thoughts. So, prepare to start. Yeah, right here. So, meditate on your mortality. When a man knows he's to be hanged in a fortnight, so in fortnights means in 2 weeks, it concentrates his mind wonderfully. We are the only creatures on this planet, on the planet Earth, who are conscious of our own mortality, and that makes us somewhat self-conscious of ourselves. That makes us somewhat vulnerable to our own mortality, because like, I don't know, cats and mice and, I don't know, like horses, they don't really know about their upcoming mortality. They probably know about it like when when it's like it will come in 2 weeks or something like that, and not in 2 weeks, like maybe in 2 hours. I don't know like how the brain of a horse works, but you get the point. We can feel and understand our own mortality from like the age of, I don't know, like from the age of 6. And so knowing full well that you're going to die is going to make yours. And knowing that you're going to die, that doesn't mean that you're going to die in like 80 years or so. I might go out to the gym today. I might go out to like train for a little bit. Not for like a little bit, but you get the point. And I'll be hit by a car, and I'll be hit by a bus or something like that, and I don't know, like a brick will fall on me, or like, you get the point. Meditating on your own mortality is so powerful, because it means that you know that your actions right now aren't really going to be that valuable in the next, let's just say, 500 years. And if you really want to make them valuable, you need to do something which is going to be against the norms. This is something that you need to do if you want to start a business. Start it. You have limited time on this earth. If you want to approach that girl, go and approach it, because you have limited time on this earth. If you want to, I don't know, like go on a hike or something like that, it's like you have limited time on this earth. Go and do it. I'm not saying that you should like go and indulge in the bad habits or something like that, but you get the point. Meditate on your own mortality. You need to consciously understand that you're going to die someday, and that's fine. And so with that, I hope this will help you, and see you in the next one.